Welcome to the Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe, my partner in crime, Josh Jones. His wife just had a baby last week, so he is off this week, but I'm sure he'll be back next week. He had a little baby girl, so congratulations to them. We are, of course, recording inside in the Capital District, the Let It Fly Sports Bar. Elevated place to come watch sports, as you know. The TVs, the food, the atmosphere, and it is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Bud Light. Whether you're hanging out at the Let It Fly Sports Bar, Bud Light brings you easy drinking and easy buckets throughout Nebraska. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. Bud Light. And as I said about the food, we always have a different dish off of the Let It Fly menu. And the dish today is the chili dog. This is kind of a new dish. Now, they had it in the game day menu, but it is a foot-long chili, cheese, and red onion hot dog on a hoagie bun with fries and a pickle. Got to have a pickle. Should I pull a piece off? I mean, I got to taste it, right? Isn't that part of the rule, Val? I don't know what it is about hot dogs, but whenever I eat them, I feel like a kid again, because that was something that they would give to you in school, camp. Always got hot dogs. So check out the hot dog when you come in. It is very filling. It is huge, as you can see. But that is today's meal for the Let It Fly show. At the bar tonight, because we're taping on a Thursday night, you got Nebraska basketball playing against Wisconsin. That's coming up. The first day of the Pro Bowl activities, where you have all the skills competition going on. And you have the East-West Shrine Bowl, where you have the All-Stars from college football that are playing as well. So all that's going on tonight. And as a reminder, if you make it out on a Thursday night, you have the steak and fry special here at Let It Fly Sports Bar. It is outstanding. We had the steak a couple of weeks ago, and I figured it'd be good, but it was one of those things where like, wow, that's seasoned well. I like mine rare. It was a little medium rare, but it was perfect. It was delicious. And so if you ever make it out on a Thursday night, get the steak and fry special. Hit the Let It Fly Sports Bar. Coming up this weekend, sports-wise, tomorrow night, Friday night, that is Creighton against Butler. That's an 8 o'clock start. Saturday night, no local college teams playing, but it is the classic Lakers and Knicks that are playing at night, 7:30 here in the bar. And then Sunday, Creighton women are on the road against Butler at 1 p.m. And then day 2 of the Pro Bowl, they'll have the flag football game and some more skill stuff that are going on. That starts at 2 o'clock if you want to check, if you want to check that out. And a reminder, if you haven't registered yet for the All Madden tournament, that's going on. You can sign up. You just come into the bar, go to the hostess table, tell them you want to be in the all one-day Madden tournament, and you can be a part of it. It's a $100 buy-in with food and drink specials while you play. They're going to play the game on the giant screen inside of the Let It Fly Sports Bar. I'm sure you played probably on a 60-inch TV, maybe a 75-inch TV. You can be playing on a 38-foot TV for All Madden. So one-day Madden tournament. That is February 18th. It is a Sunday. Again, it's a $100 buy-in. You do get food and drink while you're playing, and then they'll have the rules and stuff and how you can win money for it as well. One of my good friends, a Saints fan, Tyler, is a huge player of Madden. He's ranked in the top couple of hundreds in the country at playing it, plays in tournaments, so I'm going to try to get him to come out here and play as well. Before we get to our guest, who is De'Mornay Pierson-El, former Husker wide receiver and punt returner, we'll chat with about his career, both here at Nebraska, back when he was in high school in the DMV, and, he's been bouncing around as a professional. We'll talk to him, but it is the week before the Super Bowl. So we're going to hit on 5 quick topics, getting you ready for the week of the Super Bowl. First off, obviously, we know a rematch of just 5 years ago of Kansas City playing San Francisco, a game that San Francisco, they didn't have it in hand, but they were winning the game, and then all of a sudden you had to throw to Tyreek Hill. Super Bowl 54 became just all Kansas City, 21 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Niners 31-20. Number 2, if the Chiefs win on Sunday at the Super Bowl, they'll get back-to-back titles. That has not happened in the NFL. You have to go all the way back to the New England Patriots, 03-04, the last time NFL team won back-to-back Super Bowls. Funny thing about that, that's the last time Nebraska basketball has got off to a fast start as they have this year. So maybe there's some symmetry there. Number 3, Mahomes has been great in the playoffs. Not dynamic, but great, right? Very solid. 68% of his passes completed, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Plus, he's got the 75 yards rushing as well. And went on the road and won games, something that people said they didn't think he could do. Went on the road and won games in the playoffs. And then Brock Purdy, not as good, 61% completion rate, 2 touchdowns and just 1 interception. But surprisingly for some people who didn't watch him at Iowa State, 62 yards rushing so far in the postseason as well. Number 4, San Francisco's head coach has never been very good at coming back, right? A lot of teams, when they trail at halftime, don't necessarily win. A lot of teams that trail going in the fourth quarter don't always win, right? And it's understandable. But Kyle Shanahan took it to a whole nother level. Before this playoffs, he was 0 for 30 when trailing by 7 or more in the fourth quarter. 0 for 30. But of course, they came back twice so far. 17 down against the Lions. They did that before the fourth quarter. And then down 7 going in the fourth quarter against the Packers. So now 1 and 30. Maybe he's gotten that hole, not being able to come back. Maybe he's got that off his back now after 2 comeback wins. So if San Francisco trails, unlike in the past, maybe they can come back and win the game. Number 5 is Kansas City's defense and what they have done so far this season. They've only had one team score more than 17 points on them all year long. And in the second half and fourth quarters, they've been incredible. Only 10 second half points scored versus the defense in the 3 games in the postseason. And if you go back farther than that, they've been dominant really since the second half of the season. Allowed less than a TD in the second half all season. 6.8 points is how much they've given up in the second half of games. It's amazing under a touchdown what they've done. And then there's the Taylor Swift stuff. FanDuel has a question on there for the props. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? The proposal has to happen right after the game for you to win. The yes option is plus 920. Means if you bet $100, you win 920 if he pops the question. The no option is minus 2200, which is probably most likely. But there's some other props you can go after as well. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown on camera during the halftime show? Not during the game, but during the halftime show. You know, while Usher's getting his thing done, how many times will they show Taylor? And they will, because she's going to be singing along, I know. Will Taylor Swift and Kelce appear in a commercial during the Super Bowl? Have they put together a commercial we don't know about with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in a commercial? If so, you can bet that. Will the couple announce their first pregnancy at the Super Bowl? You can bet that as well. And you can also bet, will they be shown kissing after the game? Now, I'm not sure if it has to be in the post-game coverage, for that. Or maybe it has to be, like, how far after the game are we talking? Because once he's done and they're leaving, maybe they kiss. You never know. But all those are props you can find all over. And, of course, next week we'll have some more props to get into and go over some of our picks for the game when Josh comes back. Coming up next, former Husker, has bounced around in the pros. 2014 All-American honors as a punt returner as a true freshman. Finishes his career at Nebraska with 100 catches and more than 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns receiving and 3 on special teams. De'Mornay Pierson-El joins us next.
On a Sunday. Gotta go. I forgot the sausage. You guys ready to eat? There you go. On a Sunday.
All right, welcome back to the Let It Fly show. We are joined by a college All-American, a guy who did things on the field that Nebraska would love to have now, talking about return specialist and wide receiver De'Mornay Pierson-El. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you for having me.
So it's funny because you always try to figure out what people are going to do after. Mm-hmm. And I knew you'd be trying to obviously do pro ball. Mm-hmm. Talk us through that, the way that's been for you in terms of trying to getting on practice squads. What's that feeling been like over these last, 6, 7 years?
It's been a journey,
yeah.
But, anything that's worthwhile won't come easy. It's fun. It's exciting. It's a business, though.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that. You got to make sure that, your body's in the right position, that your mental, you know, is in the right position and everything like that. It's nothing easy. I don't have era to, you know, mess up or anything like that. They don't have, you know, too much money invested in you and everything like that. So you pretty much have to be almost perfect every time. You know, make the most out of opportunities that you do get, because, you know, those were turn into more opportunities that come your way. So it's been a quest.
Yeah, we had Kenny Bell on, and he was talking about being on practice squad, where it's almost like week to week you're trying to figure out if they want you, if they don't want you. You mentioned it's a business. What's that feeling like?
That's the side that being in college, you know, they don't prepare you about. They don't. They tell you a little bit, but it's you really don't know until, you know, you get smacked in the face with it. Sometimes it's heart wrenching. You're good enough to play. They like you. It might be just a numbers game, something that's, you know, out of your control. That's happened to me numerous of times and everything like that. And I've gotten released, and, you know, within 48 hours, 3 days or so, you know, a week or a month or whatever, I'll be back to places and everything like that. So it kind of comes with it. It's not easy, but again, it's a business. You can't, you know, cry and pound about everything, because you can be in one place, and then you know, when they cut in rosters at the end of training camp and everything like that, if you play good in preseason and everything like that, yeah, you might not be good, you know, or you might not be wanted on this team and everything like that, but there are, you know, 31 other teams that can scoop you up on and put you on their active or, you know, practice squad or however it may go and whatnot. So, I mean, it's the eye in the sky is always on you. So, I mean, that was, you know, something to kind of equal the playing field, to not, you know, worry about the stuff that's uncontrollable.
So where is it right now? So the last thing you did was the USFL?
Yeah.
So where are you now with that? Are you done? Or are you still?
No, I'm not done. I popped my patella in April, so I didn't.
Damn.
Yeah, so I didn't even finish the season. It was literally the first game. So coming back from injury, I should be cleared, honestly, within the next 2-3 weeks. And I know some UFL teams have contacted me, some Canadian teams have contacted me, so I have options to play. But I mean, everybody's waiting on for me to get the green light to return to play. So it's just, you know, taking it one day at a time, continue to handle what I can handle, and focus on, you know, what's in the house, not outside the house.
How long do you stretch it out? I mean, how long do you continue to pursue that dream till you can?
It's funny because I had this conversation with, you know, people who have turned over a new leaf and started some new things and everything like that. And I've always told myself, once it gets to the point to where, like, I have to go knock on doors, I think that will be, you know, the end of stuff. So, I mean, I still have opportunities with not, you know, reaching out to people or not doing anything, you know. Teams that reach out to me, you know, they'll reach out to my agent and whatnot and go there. So, I mean, there's still stuff to play on and everything like that. So, I mean, I'm not finished yet. I'm not thinking about being done just yet. Right. It's once I, you know, got hurt and everything like that, it crossed my mind. But, you know, I didn't want to make a decision off of being, you know, emotionally pissed off and frustrated and everything like that. So kind of went through the rehab process and everything like that when things have kind of gotten back and I feel comfortable, feel like nothing's happening and everything like that. So just, you know, again, waiting on opportunities, and it's just once I get the green light, then it's okay, assess, you know, where I'm going to go and what's going to be. So, I mean, playing the UFL and hopefully get back to, you know, an NFL roster for next spring and go like that.
De'Mornay Pierson-El joining us here on Let It Fly show. You mentioned going through the rehab. You did that back in college too. And I'm always fascinated with how people keep a good mental aspect of their life, because you're now kind of away from the team and you're having to do stuff and you're getting up early. How do you maintain that? The mental aspect of that?
The first time it was different. I would say, you know, when I hurt my knee in college, the first time, that one was probably the hardest one. Just because it was a lot to come back and I didn't necessarily know like how I would come back. But I mean, I made a full recovery. I was fine. I just wasn't utilized like I should have been beforehand.
Right.
So I just kept focused on, you know, I'm working for tomorrow. You know, making sure that, you know, when the opportunity does present itself and everything like that, that I'm not, you know, mentally checked out of it, or, you know, I'm not worried about, you know, getting re-injured or doing something again and everything like that. It was always, you know, pushing my limits to the day that I'm currently in, and tomorrow will be, that'll set me up better for tomorrow. And then once tomorrow comes, okay, push my limits into today, to where I start to stack days. Football is about routines, and I found that out, with going through, the recovery process and everything like that, of just figuring out, okay, what my routine was to make sure my body is right, what my routine was to make sure that mentally, like, I was there and everything like that, to make sure that, I would still be able to get to, the NFL level and everything like that. So once I kind of got out of my own head and stop being scared of the what ifs and I might not be this, and start focusing on, well, I can be this today and everything like that. When it came time to me being on the field and everything like that, everything snapped back.
Sitting with De'Mornay Pierson-El, of course, former Husker. So a lot of guys, when they come in as freshmen, either they don't get on the field or they don't get a chance to do much. You made some really big plays. Did you feel that it was easy when you first got here? Because almost right away, everybody knew you, everybody knew DP.
I wouldn't say it was easy. It came natural. I wasn't, nervous or scared, to be out there and go up against, people and whatnot. Before, we got to camp and everything like that. I mean, we had summer, workouts and whatnot.
Sure.
So I was getting familiar, with the dudes around and everything like that. And when you got, it's funny because Randy Gregory was actually the first person to tell me that, like, I was going to play.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like this, and mind you, this is summer workouts.
Yeah,
like this is Randy's come in after, this is when he changed from 44 to 4, and he's in the locker room. I was close with him and everything like that, and we would do like 7-on-7 stuff in the Hawks in the mornings and everything like that before classes and whatnot, and I think it was our first day out there. I was like already like running with the twos, scored on a corner route, and Randy came from the opposite end, like running down, and Kenny celebrated in there. Kenny gave me a hard time, actually. I really didn't like Kenny at first.
That's natural though, right? That's kind of how you handle it.
You knew you had to understand who Kenny was.
Okay.
So once I understood that and everything, like, I'm like, okay, that's just the way how he is and show love and everything. Like, it became cool.
Yeah.
But the transition was easier, and I was more so competing against Amir or Kenny, going against Jay Mitch and everything like that. Dudes will make plays and everything like that. So, all right, watch this. Like, so I really wasn't focused on actually playing. It was just more so like proving that anything that y'all can do, I can do it too.
Right.
And then I would still mess up. I was messing up all through camp and everything like that. I would be in the right spot, might run the wrong thing, or might be in the right or wrong spot and run the right thing here and there and everything like that. And then like the third week of camp, like everything just clicked. I was just running with the twos early on, running with the ones, mixing it in here and there. And
was there one moment where you were out there and you did something, you made something happen where you said, okay, I can do this?
I wouldn't exactly say one moment. I noticed the ball started coming my way a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just because the coach is telling, like, the quarterbacks to throw it to see what I can do, or that just like it was just the dominance of, okay, like, nah, he can play it. Like, let's see him, like, get him in more of a role of things and everything like that. Like I said, it was sometime around the third week of training camp, to where the thinking slowed down. I didn't have to think. My body would just kind of just like react to it and do things and everything like that. I started to dominate more so, the defensive players and everything like that. And that's when, some of the starters started talking crazy to you and everything like that. And I was just like, okay, or after practice and everything like that, they talking to you a little bit more. So that was, I guess you could say that was the moment, but there's no in particular one moment to where I say, oh, it was this day. Right.
What was that transition like when Bo Pelini gets pushed out, Mike Reilly comes in? What was that feeling around the team? Because I know how much it seemed like all the players loved Coach Poe. And then all of a sudden he's gone. What was that like for you guys?
It was weird. When Coach Riley came in, nobody knew who he was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So after looking into him and everything like that and who he was associated with, like, I knew he had Brandon Cooks. So I knew at least he Biletnikoff winner, so of course he's going to pass it. So, but it was weird because it was a different situation where everybody came from different places to play under Bo. And for him to be on the hot seat after multiple 9-win seasons is crazy.
Right.
And looking back at everybody's kind of
had it pretty good.
You know what I'm saying? So. My high school coach, we talked about it even before, coming out here, and he was like, he's kind of on a hot seat, and there's a chance that, he might not be there, a year or two after, there, if it continues to go in the direction it goes. And it was just, it is what it is. I still believe, he's going to be there for that. He was a player's coach. You knew what you were getting from Bo.
Yeah.
Riley was just the opposite, not in a bad way. Bo was a passionate yeller type guy, and you've seen different sides. There was no holding back. Riley was a little bit more of a happier man.
Yeah.
But he was very professional. His system worked offensively wise and everything like that. What he wanted to do, we did it. Is just, his years here, we had, different type of weak points that weren't, fixed overall.
Injuries too. People couldn't stay healthy. A lot of injuries.
Football.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't say dudes were happy. But you had to adjust to things and everything like that.
Sure.
I mean, life happens.
Yeah.
Everybody, put their best foot forward to, do what was right and continue to, still represent the end and everything like that.
Sure.
But it was weird. But I mean, I have no problems with Riley. Like Riley, talk to him every now and then and whatnot and everything. So, it ended up working out the way it did.
Yeah. Was the first time he told you guys you were going to do the hip hip hurrah thing in the locker room? What did you think about that?
Kind of like when you hear some things and you're like, yeah, no, like that's like that's the best like you got. Like it's like, all right, he comes from a different period of time,
era, definitely.
I'm like, all right, it didn't stick well at first, and then it kind of grew on everybody. Is kind of an inside joke type thing, but I mean, it was what it was. It grew on you. It wasn't liked early on.
I bet, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how, because you grew up in DMV area, right? So I know that area pretty well. I lived in Bowie. I lived in Maryland and Virginia both. I was stationed out there in the Army. It's a different, obviously, than it is here, right? I mean, a big difference. What was it like when you came to visit? What was it that made you say, I'm going to go halfway across the country to Nebraska?
Once I started, bringing in offers and everything like that, I played multiple positions in high school. Played quarterback, receiver, running back, safety, corner. So a lot of universities didn't really know, where I wanted to play at. And I didn't want to tell where I wanted to play because then everybody's going to say, oh, well, yeah, you get there and then you run into a situation kind of like how Trayvon Diggs was at Alabama. He was a receiver, and I know Trey. He was a receiver at Alabama and went down there, and Nick turned him into a corner. Yeah, he talked about it and everything like that, but still, I didn't want a situation kind of like that. I think Nebraska was like the third or fourth university to offer me for a receiver. So they were on me right away. The receiver coach was one of the first persons, or the second actually, to reach out. JP was first, and the liking was mutual. And talked about, we got to get you out here. They came to Virginia, a couple of times before I even came out here. So I was like, okay, like y'all really are interested. Started to look more into where Nebraska was, what they were doing and everything. Like, again, they winning 9 games. They playing in bowl games. They playing South Carolina. They playing, Georgia and everything like that. So I'm like, okay, so you're going to be going up each year, against these SEC teams or, the teams that were better, whatever. So I came out here for, I don't even know if they call it this now, but for a Big Red Weekend.
I remember that.
And instead of me, they had they would invite, the top 2 players from each position that they wanted out here and everything like that. And it was me and a guy from Texas. He was smaller than me, but he was faster than me. And he went to the Open, 4-star guy and everything like that. And so they had a players panel with the players and the families, and everybody was in there talking, and they was walking around showing, the weight room, the Hawks, and I didn't see none of that. The offensive coordinator took me, and we was watching film for pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just words. That they physically showed like, okay, we want you like this. We want.
Was that Sean Watson?
Nah,
who was that?
Bell. I mean, Beck.
Oh yeah, right.
Beck.
Yeah.
So I was with the offensive coordinator and the receiver coach for about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And they I was walking with everybody, but the offensive coordinator was around me when he wasn't with the quarterbacks, or my wide receiver coaches. Was mostly by me, more so than the other cat. But yeah, we went back into the quarterback's room, which is like the offensive staff meeting room at the time. And we just watched film, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to use you like this. I want to use you like this.
Nice.
When we go 4 wide, you'll be the fourth, receiver when we take the tight end out." And he was showing me exactly like how I wanted to be used, and I didn't have to say anything. Like, this is them coming to me, so I was like, okay, like that stuck. And then I was talking to the wide receiver coach after, and he was like, whoever the first guy that jumps in a boat, that's who we taking. And if, y'all do it at the same time, or whoever comes first or whatever, we're taking that one. And then the next guy, the second person, won't have a scholarship and everything like that. And he was like, we want you, but, if TV, it was his name, hops in the ship, then, we'll take him. And I was like, I'm not first. He was like, yeah, you are. I was like, no, I'm not. He was like, I'll show you the war room. I was like, all right, show me. So we went in there, and it was color coded, and red was like the number one guys that they wanted. My name was red, and I was like, all right, I'm coming.
Nice.
Like, I didn't need to see anything else.
Right.
Talked to Bo when he came to a house visit, and he had told me that he would be taking over the special teams and everything like that. And that they could see me playing that early and often. And I mean, it was pretty much open for grabs if I could handle the adjustment and everything like that. He doesn't see why I wouldn't play it.
A lot of people, and I work for the Johnny the Jet Foundation, so I'm around Johnny Rodgers talking about kick returns and punt returns all the time, right? And he always talks about how you're the baddest man on the planet if you can stand back there and have 11 guys or 10 in a kicker that come in to kill you, and you got to make everybody miss. What's the hardest part of being a punt returner? Being a good punt returner.
Trusting your instincts, I would say.
Of when to catch it, or knowing you can make a guy miss?
Just knowing the situation, and trusting your ability to get stuff done. Some people have it, some people don't have it. And if you don't have it, you just back there kind of like what they're doing now, just catching the ball and being a statistic instead of changing the game at the next level. That position is, if you win 2 of the 3 phases of the game, which is special teams, a lot of those things that like that's a job at the next level. You can play that for 5 to 10 years successfully and everything like that. So if you're not honing your skills and trusting your ability to go out there and understand the situation, and you got a job to do, of course, secure the ball and everything like that. But I mean, it's the secret yards or the silent yards that you can steal, or that you can swing momentum with a return, or a big play on that and everything like that. That's kind of a little forgotten about and whatnot and everything like that. So I think that's the most important part, is just understanding your ability and what you bring to it, and actually letting that take over for you.
De'Mornay Pierson-El joining us here on Let It Fly Show. What do you remember most about that last game of 2014, that Kenny Bell catches the touchdown and overtime? And what do you remember most about that game against Iowa?
That
not
game.
the bowl game.
I thought you were talking about the bowl game.
No, Bo's last game.
Bo's last game. I mean, he was fired the next morning.
There's no way you could have thought that was coming after winning, right?
It was a night to be celebrated. Like, we were still on that, and I literally got woken up to the news of it. And
do they text you guys? What did they do? Email you, call you? What they do?
We found out after it was already announced.
Oh, so it was like on the news.
Like that they try and do things, hit the athletes first and everything. No,
Right.
like we got notified after it was all over the news. Like,
oh, wow.
Once it broke, literally within 2 minutes of it breaking, like then we got a text, emergency team meeting, come to the stadium at this time. And once we got to the stadium, then they told us at the meeting. But even still, when they texted us, we didn't know. It didn't say, "Hey, Bo's fired." Come to no, it's emergency team meeting.
Right.
Report to the facility by 1:00 or by 12:30 or whatever, 12:45, whatever the time was, and everything. Because it was early. Like he got fired. Like I want to say,
I was doing a radio show 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
like
I thought it was like around like 9 or something like that.
Yeah,
so it happened early, but getting back to the game, that was probably like the worst start we've had in a game all year. And it wasn't nothing that Iowa was doing. It was stuff that we were doing to ourselves. It was an early game.
Yeah.
We didn't really play early. I mean, we didn't really play good in any early games that year. McNeese.
Oh yeah.
You know what happened with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't nothing that Iowa was doing. We just dug ourselves in a hole, and I don't know exactly what was the turning point for us to like start climbing back, but Mir said some stuff, Kenny said some stuff, and then one thing after another, defense started turning making turnovers. Offense started driving the ball. I think Sam hit a guy and fumbled, and we got the ball back, and then I think one of the returns happened or something like that. So it was a slow climb back. More so in the second half, we were on fire.
Yeah.
It was a heavy match. It was a heavyweight match, blow for blow. They were swinging, we were swinging.
Yeah.
And we went to overtime, and we got the win.
It's in your Twitter account, obviously, but are you surprised when people at that point, especially, punted to you because they knew what season you had? Were you surprised when they were still punted to you?
I wasn't necessarily surprised. I just knew I wasn't probably going to get many opportunities.
Right.
Every now and then you might have had one where they wouldn't. I can't really tell you like when people stopped it. I would probably say sometime after the Michigan State one, maybe because the second one. Mm-hmm. But then that's when you see they were angling to the sideline, or if I'm on this side, they would put you to the other side, or they would put you really, really high and really, really short. But I mean, it wasn't just me. Our special teams unit were blocking kicks as well. So it was you were
number one special team in all the efficiency rankings that year when Bo took it over. That just. You guys, number one.
I think I was number 2 in one statistic, I think.
But I mean, the overall special teams.
Overall
special teams, you guys went from being like 130 last 129 to being first.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that was just Bo. He attention to detail and everything like that, assignment, preparation. He got guys out there that wanted, to have to do their jobs well. The 10 guys in front of me made my job a lot easier. All I had to do was pretty much make a guy or two miss and run and everything like that. But he had guys out there that it didn't matter if they were 4 stars. It didn't matter if they were seniors or started here and there and everything like that. It was a mix of walk-ons. It was a mix of scholarship guys, and everybody was like, all right, well we'll do this and you just return. All right, cool. So it made my job a lot easier.
No doubt about that. Did you go to that meeting that Bo had with the players after the season? Did you go to that?
Yeah.
What was the feeling like in that room? Because I mean, I heard the audio and everything, but I mean it's like a real emotion.
To be honest, like Bo was really calm. He wasn't angry. He was just like, I understand these things kind of happen and everything like that. I'm here for you guys and everything like that. If y'all need anything or you want to talk about moving somewhere else and everything like that, have a conversation with me before you think about that. It wasn't just come with me, right. X, Y, and Z. Like, no, he still wanted everybody to make sure that they were still making the best decisions for their futures, not just because of an emotional event occurred and everything like that. Bo went out how Bo went out. I mean, he's a passionate guy. People are mad and upset about, you know, what he said and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you know, he was straightforward. And in today's world, you don't see a lot of that. So I still take a bullet for him, you know, to this day. I don't have nothing bad to say about him. And if anybody, you know, would badmouth him in front of me, I have no problem stepping in and checking that because, you know, he gave me an opportunity, you know, to further my education. He gave me an opportunity to, you know, continue to follow my dreams and everything like that. So regardless of what you think, you're on the outside. I actually, you know, knew him in a different lighting and whatnot, and, you know, through the good and bad, still accept who he was. Yeah,
one of my favorite moments is I did some work with Joe Gans for a while on the radio, and he said to me once, he goes, you know, Bo always liked you. And I was like, I felt good because he didn't like nobody, at least in the media. De'Mornay Pierson-El joining us here.
He had his people he was a little bit, you know, more all right with, but I mean, you know, the media had a job, and, you know, they were painting a picture, and he didn't like what they were saying. Again, it's, you know, outside the, you know, the walls, opinions about stuff, and then you try and change, you know, players' words and pull certain stuff out, and stuff gets, you know, misconstrued and everything like that. So am I blaming him for feeling, you know, a certain way about stuff? No, because Nebraska media was something serious. Like, you know, every day of the year there's an article coming out about football. So
right. No, I understand. Let's talk a little bit about when you got to Lincoln. The football stuff, you know that, but the off the field thing. How did you adapt to that move? I know you pledged, which is always helpful, but how did you adapt to that?
The biggest thing was the code. I hate the code.
Really?
My first, you know, winter here. I don't think I've ever been that sick in my life. But you know, we had a good class that came in that year. I think we had 4 or 5 true freshmen that played, including myself. I know Josh Kalu played. I know Kyron Williams played. I know Chris Jones played. So I mean, and they all, you know, contributed in some shape or form. You know, I think Kyron was big on special teams as well.
Oh yeah.
Chris Jones was another special teams. Late in the year, he got, you know, active into actually playing. I think, and then Kalu played probably earlier, about the same time, roughly the same time as me, because Chuck went down.
Oh right. Yeah.
And Kalu was thrown in at corner, at nickel.
That's Charles Jackson.
Yeah. So we had a group that, you know, we would wake up early on, you know, Sundays. You know, some dudes would go to church and everything like that, but we would, you know, go into the field house, race routes, you know, work out and everything like that. I mean, every Sunday.
Yeah.
So I mean, you had a group of guys, offense and defensive guys. You know, it just wasn't, you know, 4 or 5. Like, it was probably a group of 10, 12, and then, you know, some of the older guys here and there would come through and whatnot. But, you know, they made the transition easier. You know, your family away from your family.
Sure.
You grow to having a, you know, an adopted family, and you know, establish friendships and everything like that, and you're around them every day, workouts, class, lunch, study hall, and everything like that. So we really didn't have time to really do too much of anything else, especially, you know, your freshman year. Not understanding how everything works and whatnot. You're just figuring out, and then, you know, spring ball starts and everything like that. So we were more so just, you know, busy with stuff. It was easy. There's not much to do in Lincoln. You know what I mean? So we stuck together. You know, we didn't get in too much trouble or anything like that, and, you know, we had the fun that we had.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, how did being Omega Psi Phi, right, is what you pledged. How did that organization help you in terms of just making friends away from the team and doing things away from the team?
I mean, you've been around in the area, so, you know, you know, black fraternities and sororities have a huge, you know, presence back home. So, you know, I grew up around, you know, some of my coaches, some of my teachers were Omega men and everything like that. So I was more comfortable, you know, with them and everything like that. I knew, you know, what they stood for, where they were coming from and everything like that. So when I was literally walking across campus one day and I seen, you know, my pro fight my profile now, but at the time he wasn't. I seen him
Yeah.
with a scarf on, literally stopped, and I was like, "Y'all out here?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And got his card and everything like that. And then, so the second semester of my freshman year, I got to know the chapter here and everything like that. And I got the opportunity to pledge that next spring. And it helped me with just, realizing, how much time we do have in a day to, make sure and accomplish all the things that you can accomplish, pushing me to be, to a higher standard, academically, as a young man individually, as a person in the community, just not, for the football stuff, just other stuff. So, it just, gave me a different purpose and everything like that, just an understanding of stuff.
De'Mornay Pierson-El joining us here on Let It Fly show. So you're doing a little bit of radio in Lincoln. So you're obviously talking about this team in their first year under Coach Rule. What did you see? What did you think about their development as the season went along?
I liked it. They were in games, and I think honestly, other than probably the Michigan game.
Yeah.
They weren't getting tossed around. You had bad quarterback play. Like that.
Yeah.
If you fix that situation, they're over 500.
Oh yeah.
You have a young receiver core. You got dudes that got hurt and everything like that. You got quarterbacks that were inconsistent, or you got guys that were thrown into a position that didn't play the position really. So for year one for them to be where they were and everything like that, honestly, like that's astonishing. For them to say, "Oh, well, we're gonna have this guy change and this guy's not gonna work out," and we lead the turnovers in the nation,
in the country, yeah,
and you still have a chance for 4 games to go over 500, and if you literally change 4 plays in 3 of those games, 3 of those games are wins.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was impressed. I was definitely happy with the results. Rule definitely got in there and gave something that was missing. I will say that. He's a lot more active, a lot more hands-on with stuff. I'm excited to see, how things progress. But, I was really, really happy with year one. Defense, looked amazing. But, again, it's a Big Ten. It's a physical league and everything like that. It's a long season. So stamina, endurance, gotta be well, gotta finish strong. So I'm excited to see, how they take the next steps from last year to this year.
One of those games you're talking about is the Maryland game. Obviously, a couple things happened differently. They win that game. Did you grow up liking the Terrapins, not liking the Terrapins in that area? What was it like for College Park for you?
I really wasn't a fan of Maryland. They were cool. Wasn't a fan of Virginia. Wasn't a fan of Virginia Tech. I like Vic.
Yeah.
Grew up liking Vic.
Sure.
But it never.
So you didn't have a favorite team in that area?
No.
Oh, okay.
If I had to choose, you could probably say Tech. Penn State was big.
That's what I grew up.
Miami was huge. USC, of course, because of Reggie and everything like that. I really didn't have the home teams wasn't really my thing or whatever. I didn't want to be close. I really didn't like them too much or anything like that. They were cool in their own right, but I never went, I want to be a Terrapin.
Were you an NFL fan growing up?
Yeah.
The Commodore, Redskins, with the Washington team, were you a fan of them? Or Baltimore?
Early in my younger years, I was a Redskins fan, and then I'd probably say about 5th or 6th grade, I was a Ravens fan. So, actually, once Sean Taylor probably passed away, I became a Ravens. Actually, once he passed away, I became a Ravens fan. So I grew up Ravens, and that's just what it was.
Yeah. Who'd you say was your favorite teammate at UNL?
I don't know if I can answer that one.
Who did you have the most fun around?
It was a group of us. Like there's not one in particular, person or whatnot. It was about 5 or 6 of us every weekend, all right, what y'all doing? Kalu was in that picture, Kyron was in that picture, Keon Williams was in that picture, Stan was in the picture. Like, so JD, I can't pick one.
Right.
You know, we would be out B. Riley, Kenny here and there and every now and then. So I mean, there's too many to pick.
Okay.
That's when I can't put an exact face because it was always a group of us around. I mean, you know, my sophomore and junior year, B. Riley, Seaton, and Snake. I mean, Nate Gary.
Oh yeah,
I called him Snake. That's a nickname. They lived right across the hall from me, Kalu, Adam Taylor, and Trey Mosley before he transferred out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was party central, right, literally right across the room. Either way you want to go with it. Yeah. So it's too many memories, too many people to pick.
That's funny. Seaton, I always because you know Seaton's from Louisiana, Rummel High School. I went to high school in New Orleans, and one time I was like, dude, if you want me to make you some gumbo or something, bro, just call out, you know. And Kyron, we took advantage of it, but Seaton didn't. But I still chat with him occasionally, so he's still making it.
Yeah. Kyron is still actually still in town locally too as well.
Oh yeah. He just had a camp. I don't know how long ago that was, but I tweeted some stuff out for his camp. Yeah. What's your golf game like right now?
I don't play golf. I'm there to drive and.
Oh, you don't play? I was at that golf tournament. I saw you there. I figured with Steve Taylor. I figured you were playing.
No.
You just drive the cart?
That and adult beverages. That's it. Golf is not my thing at all. No.
I'm surprised.
I just
to hang out.
It's too slow.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't. I think I've probably played golf maybe 3 times. Probably one time with Johnny.
Yeah.
One time with some people that I met out in Fremont, and probably that day. Like that
was it.
I don't care.
See, I thought seeing you out there, I'm like, okay, this guy gets his golf game right.
No,
I thought maybe you're like, no,
not.
And you're a great athlete. You played all those different positions and everything, and that doesn't.
You can have golf. It's too slow. It's not my thing. I'll pass.
They call it a long walk that sucks.
You know, I know a lot of business deals happen out there. So a lot. I probably need to learn how to play a lot more, but I'm not there yet. I'm not concerned about it.
Last thing before we let you go, give me your best memory at Nebraska on the field.
Man, I didn't seen a lot of them. The Oregon game.
Oh yeah.
The Michigan State game, the Miami game, my freshman year. That was a crazy game.
That game was as loud, and I've never seen fans fighting like that in the stands. I've been on a lot of their games. They were mad that it was late too. It was like 9:00 start. So
that was a good game.
Yeah. Man, Randy Gregory was good in that game. So was Amir. Oh, they both were good in that game.
Kenny had a nice game too. It's hard to pick.
Right.
You know, a favorite memory. I'm not too sure. I can tell you the one that pisses me off.
That's
the most.
Always you guys always remember those better.
The fact that we played Rutgers, I would probably say my senior year. I've never returned a punt at home. And the fact that has never happened, it pisses me off still to this day.
Wow.
And I've probably had about 3 to 4 opportunities to take a kickback at home, and it just
didn't happen
at home. Nope. It for whatever reason, it drives me insane.
Yeah. Does it drive you insane when guys don't return punts? Because now there's a lot more fair catching happening in college football and in pro football. Does that?
In college football, no, because you're just not built that way. Mm-hmm. And then, some people, their coach might be out there telling them to fair catch. They're playing the statistical thing, certain stuff. So I get that part of it. In the NFL, no, because the return still happens. They just don't. You'll have maybe under 5 returns a year. Punt return and probably kick return.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot harder in the NFL than it is probably in college. It doesn't piss me off. Like you can't rush things. You got to kind of let the game
come to you.
Pretty much. Especially you don't want to do it at the next level because you do something like that and cost the game or something like that. You might get cut the next next morning. So think a little bit before you act on it.
Give us your Super Bowl pick.
I hate both teams. I'm a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Like I played for the
You
Raiders
before you played for them. You were a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Or just, okay. All right. Cool.
Well, like I started liking them a lot more in college. My best friend Keon, he's a Raiders fan.
Okay.
So I kind of started liking them a lot more so, and then had the opportunity to be a part of the organization, and it's just a family thing. It's just it's a Raiders thing. It's the Raiders way about stuff and everything like that.
Nice.
To where it's just like that's just home. So whenever they play, it's just I'm them. So I'm never ever gonna root for the Chiefs. And the Raiders can't stand the 49ers
That is true.
As well. So
Bay Area rivals.
literally. If I had to pick, I would say the 49ers, because I think it's only two positions that I feel like that the Chiefs have them beat at, and that's quarterback and tight end, maybe tight end, and kicker. You can put kicker in there.
We'll throw head coach in there.
We talking about players now.
I know. It's Andy boy.
I would say that's
Andy.
even though.
Yeah.
Like
You
you can give Andy because he's won Super Bowls and everything
Sure.
like that. So I'll give you that. But Kyle is something else on the offensive side.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to what quarterback makes the fewest mistakes.
Sure.
Yeah, it's hard betting against Mahomes. I get that.
Yeah.
But coming back from this last deficit with the 49ers, if he doesn't start slow, they might have their hands full.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be a defensive like front on either side. I see the 49ers taking it, honestly.
Sounds good. DP, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back to Let It Fly Show. We appreciate De'Mornay Pierson-El for coming on with us and telling us some classic stories from when Nebraska was actually winning some more football. I'm with him in terms of the Niners, in terms of who I think will win. I know it's a surprise. A lot of people, they're favored. They're favored because they do these power rankings in the NFL, and the Niners have a higher power ranking. That's why they're where they are. At the same time, picking against Patrick Mahomes has just not been good for anybody in terms of gambling. And so I personally like the under. I think you have the number 1 and 3 defenses in terms of scoring defenses in the NFL. I kind of like the under in that game. I think it's at 47 or 46.5 now. I kind of like that. I think it's going to be a slow starting game. And then, again, in the fourth quarter, whoever has the ball, as we always say, ends up winning the game. Special thanks, as I mentioned, De'Mornay Pierson-El, former Husker, for joining us. Also, executive producer Phil McClain, our technical director, Val Elvis. I know Mac was around here too. Mac is here as well. And then Meg, the social media maven, getting the pictures out and getting everything up on Instagram and everywhere else. Also, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Bud Light. As we said before, whether you're hanging out with friends or you're just hanging out in the Let It Fly Show, listening to us, or you're here in the bar, wherever you are, Bud Light brings you easy drinking and easy buckets throughout Nebraska. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. As Josh Jones would say when he gets back after taking care of the baby, as he would say, it's a Let It Fly Show. You know how we do it.